I want to be perfectly clear on why I'm doing this video in the first place. There's a lot of ignorance among many people, and I need to shed some light on this. Hello everyone. Once again, this is Dare to Speak. I've seen a lot of comments made on my last two videos, I think so far. All of them pretty much, but the last two are like the most intense. And of course on the whole Kyle Rittenhouse thing. Now, I did a, there was a video that I did that was entitled, "What if Kyle Rittenhouse is found guilty?" And the video was about, what do you people think would happen if Kyle Rittenhouse was found guilty and was sentenced to prison for the rest of his life or whatever? What would be the worst case scenario? And some people have given their explanations. And there was a couple of them that are very, very stupid. But people are entitled to their own, to their own opinion about how they feel. That was the whole, that was the whole purpose of that video to begin with. And excuse me. And the whole thing is, when people make ignorant comments, it's like saying, well, I don't remember all of them right now. I would have to go back on that video and check it out. But something like there'll be no more justice. The liberals are gonna take over, or the commies, and all this type of negativity on communism. And I don't think these people even have any clue about what real communism is, when it comes to the way they think, the way they feel, and stuff like that. I mean, the whole thing was founded by Karl Marx, and I read some of the stuff that he wrote, his famous quotes and things about him. I read about it. Now, I do admit that I don't know everything about communism. I do admit to that, but at the same time, I know enough to know that I could say that whatever bad reputation that communism has about controlling people, like in the movie Scarface, like in the beginning, this is are you a communist? Do you know what it's like for people to tell you what to do, what to think, what to feel? You want somebody to watching you in a corner, watching everything you do, everything you say. All this type of control, that kind of thing. And back then, I thought that that's what communism was really like. But only to realize that that's not how it really is when it comes to communism itself, real communism. Now, I'm not saying that there's not countries like that monitor you, that tells you how to think, how to feel. I'm not saying that. I'm pretty sure there is. I don't know how bad Cuba is when it comes to that. I honestly don't know. But it's not the fault of communism or Karl Marx itself. Karl Marx is not a fascist. He was not a fascist. He was an idealist, a philosophical and political idealist. And one thing that I really admired about Karl Marx was he was an atheist. That was the one thing that I admired about this guy, because he gave some very, very good quotes. He said some very down-to-earth, logical explanations on how crazy or how stupid it is for people to believe in God. And it's impossible to even put his ideas in check or to criticize it and get away with it, because there is no God. Just like there's no Satan. It's all made up. When it comes to like economics, how the rich screws over the poor, he said some quotes on that as well. And it does make sense. But the whole point of this video is this. A lot the comments that a lot of these people are making about calling people commies, they're terrorists. They're gonna try to take over the country, the world. The whole country is gonna go to hell if the commies win or whatever. And if Kyle Rittenhouse goes to prison, I don't know if he is. There's a strong possibility either way. He might go to prison, or he might get off, or maybe he might get probation, or he might do some jail time for the whole straw purchase thing. That might just happen to him and his friend Dominic Black. So it doesn't look good for them when it comes to that, because whether it's really a straw purchase or not, it's, I don't know. Let's see what's going to happen. I don't know if that's really true, but it seems to point that way. But if he does go to prison, this whole country is not going to go to hell or whatever. Like the way people are saying it, they exaggerate way too much. They exaggerate to such a degree that it's laughable. It just makes me laugh. If in any country that's supposedly communist, or like for example, not supposedly, but like for example, China, how I saw a few videos and how a lot of these people are actually struggling. It's been that way for who knows how long. And there's the privileged people that have it very good. There's some degree of middle class, and there's a great deal of poverty. People and about this one guy who's been working ever since he was a kid, and he's a very old man now. He talked about his sad story, and he's crying like crazy, and I felt it was heart-wrenching. And how the government doesn't give a fuck to actually help their own people. Now, you can blame that on communism all you want, but it's not the fault of communism in and of itself. It's the fault of the people who are in power, that are bought off by other people that are in power, that actually control the whole world, which has nothing to do with communism, because there's fascism also in capitalism. There's also fascist in, a capitalist country like this one also has their own type of evil dictators, but the only difference is they know how to hide it. They could hide it very well. And a lot of people don't have a clue about that we're living in a fascist type of society or a country. And people are saying, this is just such a great country and this and that. And I don't know. I'm not going to get into that either, but right now, anyways, going back to China, like I said before, it's the fault of these extremely powerful people that control the whole world. And by that, I mean this. It's really the fault of these people, if you want to call them people, because they don't have a soul. They're so corrupted. They're like a group of business people that have so much power that they actually have control over all the world's governments and stuff like that. And they make all the rules. And they're extremely corrupted. All they care about is power and money and things like that. So it doesn't really matter what type of country you live in, which is a capitalist country or a communist country, socialist or whatever like that. It does not matter. There's corruption everywhere. Except that in some countries, the corruption is right there in your face. It's right there out in the open. And other countries as well, you don't see it out in the open. It's all in secret. It's all well hidden. That's the only difference between the two. Now, a lot of people don't want to even acknowledge or even accept that communism is in of itself is not necessarily something that's considered evil. It's not that. It's basically the fault of the people that are in power. I mean, there's a lot of explanations to that. I'm not going to get into it, but I guess the best explanation would be if you, for any of you, um, especially if you want to, this one YouTuber that I've been debating with, Johnny Walker Dread, I think. I'm not really sure of the name, but he has his own um, podcast and stuff like that. And even though we disagree on the whole Kyle Rittenhouse thing, we kept our debates and disagreements on a, at a civilized level. I didn't say anything stupid to him. At least I don't think. I don't know. I don't think I have. And he hasn't done that to me. And of course, we don't tolerate people that just say stupid comments and make insults, because that's like schoolyard. That's like third grade immature kind of crap. Um, but I would ask this YouTuber if he ever seen the documentary Zeitgeist, especially when it comes to the whole part of the corruption of the world governments and stuff like that. If you haven't seen that yet, if you're watching this video and you haven't seen that documentary yet, Zeitgeist, there's a two-part series to that. Whatever. The first part is about religion, which makes some very good points, and the other part is about the corruption and the cover-ups about 9/11 being an inside job, and about the world governments, which is the most important part. If you haven't seen that yet, I strongly advise you watch Zeitgeist. It explains everything of what I'm trying to say right now. Everything. Like crazy. This came out in 2005. It's a documentary video on 2005. You can see it on YouTube. So I would strongly advise you watch it and give me your opinion on it. If it makes sense to you, or if you think it's full of shit, you know, think what you want. So hopefully I gave a good enough explanation on shedding light on what communism really is, and how it's actually, a lot of people make a wrong type of explanation of it. Their idea of it is just kind of like misguided, if you want to talk, if you want to call it that. Again, I'm not saying that I know everything about it, but I don't. Whatever communist country or communist behavior of people, just like, for example, the Black Panthers here in the U.S. back in the 1960s, the Black Panther militia, you could say a bunch of bad things about them too, back in the 1960s. To me, they weren't necessarily bad people. Some of them could look at them that way. You could look at them that way if you want, but they're not exactly bad people. And the way they're putting down Huey P. Newton, the way they're putting down a lot of these other people, they're not bad people. And they call themselves communists, or they were labeled as communists, I guess, or whatever, however you want to look at it. And if that's a perfect example of what a communist group who wants to fight for justice are really like, then I don't see how that's considered evil. I don't. Now, there can be some people within the group that are very radical, and they'll end up killing innocent people and stuff like that because of their hate is so extreme that they end up doing something fucking stupid. There could be followers or affiliates that support that group that they could end up doing something stupid and idiotic, and give them a bad reputation. That also does happen. So with this whole Antifa and Black Lives Matter, like I said before, there's very good people in that group, but there's also, unfortunately, a lot of bad people that are just opportunists who just want to take advantage. There's a bunch of thugs that just smash windows and burn buildings, and there's also, there's people that are just that are trying to do good, but they can't control their anger, and they do things that are irrational, very irrational, and they end up vandalizing and even hurting people. But there's also opportunists, like I said before, that are just a bunch of thugs, and they end up just causing trouble and mayhem, a great deal of mayhem, and it's very stupid. And now the actual founders of Black Lives Matter pretty much have shown their true colors when it comes to the way I saw on this one news on Fox News, on the actual one of the founders had like 4 luxury homes with all the money that's been appropriated from Black Lives Matter to Black Lives Matter from a lot of these people that support them. And this lady was all she cared about was just greed. I kind of knew that she was full of shit to begin with. When I first not met, I'm sorry. When I first saw the video of their presentation when they were on stage, and she and her friends were like trying to act like humble people and stuff like that, when in reality she was just fucking them over. It's fucked up. It really is. I mean, if you're gonna be a member, a founder of a group that's supposed to help people. And by the way, I even just like I said before, Black Lives Matter should really be called All Lives Matter, regardless of race. All lives matter. That's what they should have called it. But they're just so focused on helping black people and for all the injustice that's been happening to them. And yeah, I do agree with that to a high degree, but to a limited degree, I agree with that because there's a lot of ghetto trash black people. Just like with Hispanics, there's a lot of ghetto trash people um, that are just fucking idiots. You know, they're just thugs. It's not the fault of them being black or Hispanic. It's the fault of them just being ghetto, extremely ghetto. And I should know. I used to grow up in the ghetto, and I've seen a lot of these stupid motherfuckers act dumb. So hopefully you like this video. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Questions or comments, you know what to do. And this is Dare to Speak. And to all of you, take care.